the most feared god in Greek mythology, never did the one thing you were taught he did. He never ruled a place of fire and torment, and in the oldest texts, he was never evil at all. The devil you picture when you hear his name is not Greek. He is modern. That is the contradiction we made this video to untangle. Because the Hades of Disney and video games, the cackling, blue-flamed lord of a burning hell, is almost the exact opposite of the god the Greeks actually wrote down. And once you see the real one, you cannot unsee how badly we rewrote him. So here is the honest story, marked line by line, source by source. Start with the name, because the name already tells the truth. In Greek, the word does not mean torment, it means the unseen one. Hades is the god you cannot look at, the realm hidden from the living, the quiet country under the earth. And that's where we get the very idea of an afterlife as a place rather than a punishment. The Greeks were not imagining a furnace. They were imagining a destination. Now go to the oldest family tree we have. Around the 700s before Christ, the poet Hesiod writes the Theogony, and he lays out how the cosmos was divided. 3 brothers, sons of the Titan Cronus, overthrow their father and draw lots for the universe. Zeus takes the sky, Poseidon takes the sea, and Hades takes the underworld. He did not seize it out of malice. He did not lose a war and get exiled below. He drew a share, fair and equal, and he kept it. He is, in the literal sense, one of the 3 kings of the world. Homer says the same thing in the Iliad. When the gods argue over their domains, Hades is named beside his brothers as an equal, a ruler of his own third of creation. Not a fallen angel, not a prisoner, a king holding the realm that every mortal will one day enter. And much later, the scholar Apollodorus, gathering the myths into a single library, repeats the division the same way. Sky, sea, and underworld, 3 brothers, 1 fair draw. Across 1,000 years of sources, the basic shape never changes. Hades was given his kingdom. He did not steal it. So where does the evil come from? Here is the honest answer. It was added later, layer by layer, until the original was buried. The Greeks did not worship Hades the way they worshipped Apollo or Athena. He had few temples, and people were genuinely afraid to even say his name out loud, in case he heard it and turned his attention toward them. So they gave him a softer title instead. They called him Plouton, the rich one, the giver of the earth's hidden wealth, the grain and the metal that come up from below. And that's where we get the name Pluto. The Lord of the Dead was also, to the Greeks, the source of the harvest, death and abundance, the same god. That is not a detail a villain gets to keep. A devil does not also feed you. Look closer at what he actually does in the myths, and a strange thing happens. He keeps behaving justly. He rules the dead, but he does not torture them for sport. The famous punishments of the underworld, the boulder of Sisyphus, the endless hunger of Tantalus, are sentences handed down for specific crimes against the gods, not random cruelty. Hades runs a court, not a torture chamber. He enforces the rules of his realm without favoritism, and even the dead who simply lived and died are not tormented at all. They are only quiet. In the few stories where mortals come to bargain with him, he listens. When Orpheus walks into the underworld and sings for his dead wife, it is Hades who is moved. Hades who agrees to let her go, on a single condition that Orpheus himself then breaks. The supposed Lord of Evil grants the most merciful request in all of mythology. And when Heracles comes to take Cerberus, the great hound at the gate, Hades sets him a fair term and lets him pass when he keeps it. A devil does not negotiate in good faith. This one does. Here is a line worth keeping. The Greeks did not fear Hades because he was wicked. They feared him because he was final. Now the hardest part, and the one we will not flatten for you. The single story everyone points to when they call Hades a villain is the taking of Persephone. The young goddess of spring, gathering flowers, is carried down into the underworld to become his queen. The Homeric Hymn to Demeter, written perhaps in the 600s before Christ, tells it as an abduction, and it does not soften it. The earth grieves, her mother Demeter freezes the world, and a deal is struck that gives us the seasons. This is genuinely debated, and we are going to mark it as exactly that. Read on the modern side. It is a kidnapping, plain and dark, and you are right to feel that. But many scholars point to something the ancient audience would have heard differently. In that hymn, Hades does not act alone or in secret rebellion. Zeus, the king of the gods and Persephone's own father, approves the match beforehand. What reads to us as a crime mapped for that audience onto the shape of an ancient marriage, arranged by the father, the bride taken to the groom's house. That does not make it gentle. It means the story is doing two things at once, and pretending it only does one is the dishonest move. And notice what Hades is never accused of, even here. He does not lie to Persephone. He does not torment her. By the later tradition, she rules beside him as a genuine queen with real power over the dead. And in the surviving myths, he never once betrays her. The god we turned into a seducer and a monster is, in the texts, the most faithful husband on Olympus. So, if the sources give us a just king, where did the cartoon devil come from? Follow the thread forward. As Christianity spread across the old Greek and Roman world, its hell needed a face, and the underworld already had a ready-made lord sitting on a throne in the dark. Over centuries, the just steward of the dead was slowly painted over with the features of Satan: the fire, the cruelty, the hunger for souls. None of that is Greek. That is a later religion borrowing an older god's address and changing the locks. By the time Hades reaches a Disney film, the rewrite is total. He is loud, scheming, literally on fire, a comic villain plotting against the hero. It is a brilliant character. It is also, measured against Hesiod and Homer, almost pure invention. The satanic Hades is not the source. It is legend, and a young one at that. Here is what we should not do in return. Pretend Hades was warm, or kind, or a god you would want to meet. He was not. He was the cold, immovable fact of death, and the Greeks were right to be quiet around him. But cold is not evil. A judge is not a torturer. A border is not a punishment. The honest Hades is more unsettling than the cartoon, precisely because he is fair. There is no bargaining your way out of the unseen country, and there is no monster to blame. There is only the king who keeps the door, and keeps it for everyone the same. That is what this channel is for. Real myths marked honestly. What the sources say, what the legends added, and where the experts still argue. One question before you go. If the Greeks built their most powerful god out of the one thing no one escapes, and still could not bring themselves to call him evil, what does that say about how they made their peace with dying? New myths, told honestly every week. Subscribe so you won't miss the next one.